Hey, Eastern Oregon, welcome to this July 7th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. It's Thursday.
First Friday.
First Friday.
We're almost there.
That's right.
Are we going to, so on Saturday, do you want me to take pictures?
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah. No, that's good. I'm sorry. I'm a little fried. I was up till 3 a.m. editing.
Either. I had a headache. Bad one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I think it could be like exaggerated because of allergies.
Yeah. No, and this is a bad allergy. I mean, the people who suffer with allergies are really having it.
It's late though. It's so late, like compared to normal. It's weird.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's almost like June weather finally showed up at the beginning of July.
Yeah. So, which means we're gonna have like August weather in September.
Yep. So, well, what else is going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Getting ready for Shrine. Not a lot of sports going on, but let's just jump right into that.
Okay.
So first off, let's just give Sergeant First Class Lori McNeil some love. She's the recruitment and retention coordinator for this area for the Army National Guard. And if you have any questions, give her a call, 541-786-1459, and she can get you set up with, they have that program where kids can enter, their senior year or the summer before their senior year and then earn money during school. And it's a great program for somebody that doesn't know, what they want to do.
Right. Needs a little bit of a direction. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Sports wise, yesterday the 4A all-state softball teams were announced, and we had 3 girls that are all-state. So I made some graphics for it yesterday and posted them. Grace Neer, senior, second team all-state pitcher, which she had a really good season. I mean, this softball team, they were 2-time defending state champs. They fell a little bit short, but they still had a really good year. And then Carly Strand, a freshman, first team all-state utility.
Wow.
First as a freshman. I mean, that's pretty. I actually went to high school with her mom. Her mom and I graduated together. And then Cody's daughter, Kinsey, first team all-state outfield. And she's going to Oregon State. Grace is going to the purple, the doomed purple. I don't even want to say the name on this show. She's going to College of Idaho.
Yeah, why don't you like College of Idaho?
There's a lot of reasons, BC.
Is there?
Their basketball coach is a turd. Safford doesn't work there anymore, and he's one of my friends. He was the SID. He moved to OIT. So he was the only real reason why
there was any positive thing. Yeah.
And then the other thing is Johnny covers them now too, so I hate him even more.
Right. Okay.
And they're a private school. We're not.
Right.
There's just that big difference in money and the way they act. It's just, I'm not a huge fan. And then one more thing about sports. Next Tuesday, we're going to have on the Parks and Recreation Coordinator, Chris. I can't say his last name, but we're going to talk about Moonlight. That's August 5th through the 7th, and it's right here in La Grande, and it's back. There's information. You can go to lagrandparks.org to see more information about it. It's pretty exciting that we have. It's only co-ed. It used to be there was a men's and a co-ed, but at least it's back.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
That's good. Has it not been going?
It hasn't been for a few years, like
so
5
even
or 6 years
before
probably.
COVID. I mean, so
even before COVID. Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
So, and people just lost interest or momentum, or just there weren't the organizers, or
probably
all of the above.
Yeah, it's probably everything. The city took it over. It used to be ran by Optimus.
Yeah. Okay.
And now the city's handling it. So hopefully the tournament director that it says on there, I don't think he works for the city, Jeff Hamilton. I'm not sure, but I know that the Parks and Recreation guy's name is Chris, and he's the one that's going to join us next Tuesday and talk about what's going on with the Grand Parks and Rec.
Cool. Awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, let's
get right into the weather.
Yeah, let's take a look at how it is. Looks like it's a nice. Looks like it's nice day. It's going to be warm though. I'll bet
it is going to be warm.
Yeah. What's Gabe say?
Here's what Gabe has to say. Isolated showers develop with a slight chance for a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Otherwise, expect partly cloudy, not partly sunny, skies with highs in the lower 80s. Northwest winds 5 to 15 miles an hour, gusting up to 30 miles per hour in spots.
Huh.
Bud said Perry Pirates may have to make a comeback. There was a team in Perry?
Was there? I don't know.
Oh, maybe he's talking about the Moonlight. Right. Yeah.
There
was a team of Perry people.
There was a team called Perry Pirates.
I don't
know. If it wasn't, it sounds like a good name for a team.
Before my time, I think. I think Bud's probably talking about in the 70s or the early 80s when Moonlight was really wild.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Did it have like really wild heydays?
My best friend got it. The only DUI he's ever got, and
was that the Moonlight?
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, yeah. A little later on, Kevin Loveland and Jerry with Loveland Safe Ride are going to be on, and we can ask them about
if they doing
have any
safe
stories.
rides for that.
Yeah.
They probably are. I mean, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a bit of
alcohol
consumption of alcohol.
Do people bring it with them, or do they like serve it down there?
No, they bring it with them.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be cool if the city, if they could find a way to like lease the fields to, whatever organization is putting it on, Moonlight organization.
Yeah.
That way it takes the liability out, and then they could bring like, Benchwarmer's little thing down there and some food wagons. But no, people camp there.
So does baseball get better or worse with alcohol?
BC. There's only two things that you're better at when you're drinking.
What's that?
Bowling and darts.
Really?
No, I don't know. I doubt you're better at either of them. I mean, I don't think you're probably better at anything.
Well, yeah, but if you ask somebody when they're drunk what they're better at, it's like the list is probably pretty long, right?
Yeah, you think you're better.
Right, yeah.
The only thing I'm better at is getting in trouble.
It's kind of like beer goggles. Everybody looks better when someone's a little bit lit, right?
Yeah, Bud Force says there's about 6 kids and they played together with some other guys. Okay. Bud, you grew up out in Perry, I take it?
Huh.
Bud's one of our most loyal followers. He's at all the softball games too, and he's become a friend of mine. I get a kick out of him. It all started during football.
I think so. Yeah, you and him were talking smack, right? You were talking during the. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, group of guys lived there in the 70s: Musgroves, Carson, Greeno, and Forrest.
Huh. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
All righty. Well, so you probably noticed that there's a lot of sidewalk corners torn up downtown La Grande, and here in just a minute we're going to have Danny from Public Works is going to come on and help us understand that and talk about that project. We'll be right back after this.
Oh, hi there. I'm Patrick Flynn with the Grand Ronde Hospital Foundation, and I am planning the next big fundraising event for the foundation projects. Now, normally we would get all dressed up and have a nice formal evening with a great meal and entertainment and hear about the latest projects that the foundation has in store. But we're not doing that this year. We're doing something different. We're going to the fairgrounds! So join us on Saturday, July 9th at 6 p.m. from the ground up at the Union County Fairgrounds for our next fundraising event. We've got mobile food trucks and cornhole and ladder ball, axe throwing, and dueling DJs. And if that's not enough for you, we've got a golden ticket raffle.
Golden ticket? I'm not convinced.
You want more? Well, we've got an exclusive first look at the biggest project in foundation history.
What is the biggest project? Just tell me.
Well, just buy your tickets and come on out on July 9th at 6 p.m. Tickets are on sale now.
All right, we're back and with Danny. And sorry, Danny, tell me your last name.
Martens.
Okay. And so thanks for being here. Appreciate. And I know I texted Kyle yesterday and he sent you as the victim. He says,
I was voluntold, yes.
You were voluntold.
Yes.
So so the corners are being torn up downtown, and help us sort this out, because down on Island Strip they redid all the corners. I don't know, probably 10 years ago. I mean, they went through and put in the handicap ramps, and then they redid them a second time. But that's not the case. I don't know. Why don't we let's start with downtown.
So downtown is being redone right now because of these ramps were done in the 80s and no longer compliant to ADA regulations.
Okay.
And so we're partnering with the state in this case. They're funding this job.
Okay.
And the city is basically overseeing the construction of and doing the design of these ramps.
Okay.
And so now we'll bring approximately 15 ramps into current compliance.
Okay. And 15 corners, or 15, or each ramp has
each corner has 2 ramps.
Okay.
And some ramps can't be constructed due to physical barriers such as lack of right of way to be able to build one large enough to comply.
Okay. And I I record the city council meetings, and so I was a little bit up on this, and then I've noticed the ramps they've been redone across the state on state highways.
Yes.
Okay. So, but I guess there's, the specifications. Did I say that wrong? Specifications.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. They are so stringent.
And they're constantly changing.
Yeah. So talk to us about that.
So there is a group in Salem, and they take care of the specifications for these ramps. And it's a constantly moving target with changes.
And they're a state organization?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So there was a lawsuit by some disability corporations, or not corporations, but individuals. And they sued the state of Oregon probably about 2015, around in there. And part of the settlement of that lawsuit was the state was to reconstruct all of the ADA ramps in the state system.
Holy smokes.
So in 2018, I think only 3% of the ramps in the state system were compliant. And so the other part of that settlement, so by the end of this year, 30% of those ramps are to be completed. And then by 2032, all the ramps in the state system are to be completed.
Wow. Okay. So then let's go back to the stringent specifications. There's the word. Yeah, I'm having trouble this morning.
Yeah, they're very stringent. If you're out a 1/16 of an inch, that ramp's got to come out.
And so the contractor who won the bid to do this, they overbid on purpose to cover themselves, because there's about a third failure. Is that right?
Yeah,
so
about 30%.
So in other words, this is
statewide,
and our local contractors actually have a better record, if I'm remembering right. Then
Chalice is probably 97-98% success rate.
Okay.
Because he has some great crews.
Yeah.
And it's a team effort. Well, all of us, every ramp that we set, there's 3 or 4 of us that sit there and we're checking and rechecking and checking each other to make sure that we're good.
Well, and it's funny because I've driven by, and I mean, literally there's a team of guys standing around looking at
with levels, and you probably see myself and Sean Chavez.
It's almost a little comedic. I mean, I feel badly for you guys because it's like the state worker jokes or the city worker. I mean, but what people don't know is like it. So if it's a 1/16 of an inch off, it's got to be redone.
Yes.
Wow.
And because they are so stringent, and everything that you do. So after we're done, like this afternoon, we're supposed to have our first inspection by the state.
Wow.
To come by and check, and hopefully we did well.
So talk a little bit about concrete. Why can't you get it right the first time?
Well, concrete is liquid.
Okay.
And it doesn't seek its own level.
Right.
And so there's a process that you have to screed the concrete and get it perfectly flat. It's called flat work for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not perfectly flat, that's where you run into trouble.
Okay.
In your average city sidewalk, it's not a big deal. And these things where every inch is scrutinized, it is a huge deal in these things, and every inch has to be perfect.
And it's the slope that, I mean,
it slopes, horizontally and vertically.
Okay.
That are looked at, as well as any small tooling ridges that are left over by a trowel or a float.
Oh, wow.
That in alone is enough to fail you.
Oh,
and then again, it has to meet the specifications for seeing impaired people as well as people in wheelchairs. And it's very complex and made very complex.
And so right now, most of the ramps downtown, they kind of come out at a 45-degree angle, right?
Close.
Right. But I mean, the new ramps, they'll have their own approach. I mean, I'm just talking. I don't know if that's correct or not. Kind of tell us the difference.
Generally, in the new ramps, you have to have a landing area.
Okay.
And so the landing area is away from the ramp itself. So
and a landing area on top or below? Or
on
both?
Top.
Okay.
Generally on top.
Okay.
It can't be less than 5 feet by 5 feet.
Okay.
It can't be more than a 2% cross slope all the way around that. And what it's meant for is the person in the wheelchair is allowed to sit there, rest, and decide which direction they would like to take down the ramp. From there, it slopes down at a slope no less than 8.33%, or no more than 8.33% down to the gutter line.
Okay. So what happens if you don't have the room to accommodate that?
So the options are moving objects there, like some of the signal poles. Like there's some intersections that weren't done at this time because of that. Other reasons, you don't have enough right of way, and what you'll have to do is purchase right of way to be able to make the area large enough to accommodate the approved designs.
So you have to purchase right away from the state?
No, from
Business.
property owners.
Okay, got it. Wow.
Did that have to happen in front of Chevron?
Nope, we were able to work inside the right of way, but as you saw,
It's close.
It's a very complex design right there to channelize everything and make that work.
Yeah, was that the hardest one on Adams?
That was the hardest one for me to put together. Yeah.
Now, is there any place where the new pathway is not going to line up with the current crosswalk? I mean, is that kind of an issue?
It was an issue, and it made these designs exceptionally tough.
Okay.
To make them fit inside that. In other places where you don't have the colored crosswalks,
right?
That a seeing impaired person is drawn to that off color, thinking,
right,
this is the path for me to take. Where you don't have that, then you have the option to slide them up and down the block to make them much easier to fit in that small space. But downtown Adams does not have that choice.
Right. And I mean, I noticed out on the strip that they had to, when they replaced those corners, they had to move the crosswalks.
Yep.
To match up with the wrap.
Yes.
Like the one right in front of Walmart, for instance. That it had to be ground out, moved over, and
Yeah, and we don't have that option there. We already have the colored concrete unless we were to remove the colored concrete.
Right. Wow. Okay. So what a mess.
I was just going to say that.
By the end of July, things will be nice and pretty, and they'll be out.
So you're replacing then how many corners this season? Give me the bigger plan? How many this year? How many in the future?
The state has not given us direction like to do more ramps down the way.
Okay.
This is a pilot project that I don't think has been done before, where they've allowed a city to do these designs, because Adams Avenue is kind of unique. Adams Avenue, the state owns curb face to curb face. Okay. And so the sidewalk towards the property, the city owns.
Okay.
And so we sort of have responsibility in that, but really it's the state's responsibility. So again, that's the reason why they're funding this.
Okay.
And just to try to see if this would work, they allowed us to do the survey and design as well as a contract administration on this job.
Is that cool? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say the state owns Adams because it's a highway.
Right. Yep, state highway.
It's a state highway.
So was that exciting for you guys to be able to?
It's something new. I mean, these designs are very complex. Because generally, I have rigorous street roads and sewers.
Right.
Fairly simple. But no, this is very complex. So something new to do, something different to do. No, it's fun.
Oh, cool. So, and if I remember right, the state originally said, "Hey, here's the budget that you have to do this, you guys went out and got a bid, and it was more than, there wasn't enough money in the bucket there. And so then you guys had to go back to the state and say, hey, we need, is that kind of the assessment?
Well, what happened is that bid was, or that cost estimate was done over 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's gone.
Oh, and so, 2 years ago, that would have fit for those ramps.
Right.
Now a cheap corner is about $75,000.
Wow.
Oh,
And so that's why the budget number, which, wasn't too surprising to be blown out of the water.
Right.
But yeah, right now about 35 are ramp.
Right. And so, but the contractor they have to cover if it fails.
If it fails, yes.
Yeah. I mean, and so
they bid at virtually double the price to cover themselves.
Right. Makes sense.
Yes, because of course they don't want to lose money, and
right.
we don't want them to lose money, and that's why we all work together.
Yeah.
To try to get something that's going to pass.
Good stuff.
Sounds like a pretty good business to get into if you're, a contractor.
It's high stakes.
You're good. If your rate's 98% and you're bidding double over, that's pretty good.
Well, and it's taken a while to build the team and get the personnel that he has to be able to do this. Because your average guy should not attempt this, at home. Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
So for now, you're going to do all of them that the state this summer
has funded. Yes.
Okay. And we'll just have to see down the road.
Yeah. And they're on the hook to complete the rest.
Okay.
What the timeline of that is, I don't know, but their deadline for the end of this year is to have 30% of their ramps in their system complete.
Wow. I can't imagine the amount. And okay, so then let's talk about the strip real quick. So then I'm imagining that, and this is kind of what I had heard through the grapevine, that the state had put in the ADA ramps, and then that's when they got sued. And then they've had to go back and redo a bunch of those.
The timeline, I think, was before that, but I'm not really sure on the timeline there. I know that the standards had changed, and therefore they had to redo some of those ramps.
Yeah, and
it's not that they weren't put in to compliance at the time. They just, standards had changed.
Yeah,
and so
I just don't get that. I mean, and it's not just, we see this, it's not just our strip. It's Embler,
statewide, yep.
It's Embler, it's Joseph, it's Enterprise. They're all in the middle of.
Yep.
I don't know if Joseph is, but anyhow.
Yeah, Joseph is. Yeah.
And so it's like, how does that happen? How can somebody just change the standards? I mean, it's one thing if it's like you're building a house and you change the codes, and so then the new houses that are built that have to be, but something like concrete that has to be torn out.
That hasn't been explained to me, so I really don't know the answer to that. I would like to know the answer to that.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know why you don't set a 5-year window, say in 5 years, we're going to hold to this standard, then we're going to look at the end of 5 years and see if these worked, and if so, move on.
Yeah.
But I don't know the answer.
I mean, it's everything that people hate about government waste. Yep. I mean, it's just, so, and I know you guys you're just trying to get the job done, and thank goodness the state is, giving you the money or is passing through the money, and we're able to do that. I mean, Kyle was explaining that there are state contractors that do this, and, state contractors out of our area that specialize in doing this, but they gave us the opportunity to hire someone local.
Yes.
And so then that's awesome for our economy, because that money is coming into our economy.
Well, and so what happened there is just the local concrete guy here, Chalice Construction, bid with the general contractor and was low bid.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't, other companies had the same chance to bid on this job
outside of the area.
Outside of the area,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
And then Jamie pretty much has the area. I mean, he's doing Baker City, Joseph, Enterprise. I think this year he has 500 ramps to do.
Wow.
And so they have a system and they do well.
Wow. You'd have to have it dialed in.
They do.
Yeah, if you're going to do 500.
Yeah.
And most people fail 30% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's look at the video real fast.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I totally forgot about that.
I got it.
Okay. So, yeah, we're unmuted. I guess you can't see it.
Nope.
But anyhow, this is this you can see a little bit of it. This is one of the ramps, and he's talking about the colored walkway, that colored concrete. That's not real brick, right?
No, it's stamped colored concrete.
Yeah. So cool. And so then most of these are going to be done for Crazy Days. Is that right? I mean, the ones that are in the Crazy Day area
will be cleaned up out of the Crazy Days area. They may not be complete, but things will be cleaned up well enough that people can do what they need to do downtown.
Good deal. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for coming in and explaining this. I know that there's a lot of people that like, what's going on?
Yep,
so yeah,
absolutely.
Well, appreciate you taking the time, and even though you were voluntold, you did very well.
Tim did a good job on that video too.
Yeah,
and Cody just said, "Good looking hat, Doddsy," and he gave this to me.
Well, of course,
he's just giving himself a little pick me up.
Good. All righty. Well, we'll be right back with Kevin Loveland and Jerry with the Loveland Safe Ride program. Be right back.
Oh, hi there. I'm Patrick Flynn with the Grand Ronde Hospital Foundation, and I am planning the next big fundraising event for the foundation projects. Now, normally we would get all dressed up and have a nice formal evening with a great meal and entertainment and hear about the latest projects that the foundation has in store. But we're not doing that this year. We're doing something different. We're going to the fairgrounds! So join us on Saturday, July 9th at 6 p.m. from the ground up at the Union County Fairgrounds for our next fundraising event. We've got mobile food trucks and cornhole and ladder ball, axe throwing, and dueling DJs. And if that's not enough for you, we've got a golden ticket raffle.
Golden ticket? I'm not convinced.
You want more? Well, we've got an exclusive first look at the biggest project in foundation history.
What is the biggest project? Just tell me.
Well, just buy your tickets and come on out on July 9th at 6 p.m. Tickets are on sale now.
All right, hey, we're back. Back with Jerry and Kevin Loveland with Loveland Safe Ride. Dudes, how you doing?
We are fantastic. Good morning.
Wow, amazing.
You broadened this out a little bit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's getting a little wider.
Since the Beer Fest commercial, that was
Beard Fest.
Did you get many comments on that?
Oh yeah, a lot of people made fun of me. They said this is not a real beard.
What did you
I was hurt
expect?
by that. I was hurt.
But it's like I was trying to think of. So when I was working on that commercial, like, who would somebody be a really good sport that we could kind of poke fun of, like, and I thought, well, I guess the person that I poke fun of, like, what is that thing on your? Yeah, it's like, what is that?
There's a lot of inappropriate terms for that.
I know, I'm sure there is. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, you guys are here today to talk about Loveland Safe Ride.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, and the Elgin Stampede is happening. Does it start tonight? Yeah,
Yes.
It's been happening. Okay.
Yep, they had family night last night, and then the rodeo starts tonight at 6. And Jerry's got all of our drivers lined out, and we're looking forward to hopefully getting everybody home safely and nobody drinks and drives throughout this weekend.
So you you told us the story before, but just briefly kind of tell me why did you start Loveland Safe Ride, and what is that?
Are you trying to get me to cry on camera?
Sure, absolutely.
So in 1997, my best friend Brett was killed in a drunk driving accident.
Okay.
He was a funeral director up in Ronan, Montana, and he chose to drink and drive. And we were roommates. We went to mortuary school together, and just a great guy. But he chose to drink and drive, and unfortunately, he paid the price. And I'm really close with his parents, and after talking with his parents and his sister, I just felt like I wanted to honor his life and try to change things. And so I decided I was going to drive 1 year, and I quickly realized that I was not getting a lot accomplished, because when I had people in the vehicles, they were asking questions, and they're trying to, and then some of them are planning funerals, and I was busy and trying to pick people up, and I'm just like, guys, I can't do this anymore. And Jerry's been one of my best friends since I moved here, and I asked Jerry if he would be willing to take over the program, and I don't think he quite realized how much the program was going to grow. And I mean, now we have 10 or 12 drivers that help us out at certain events, and all the car dealerships donate vehicles to us, and Jerry lines everything out, and Pam at the office kind of helps generate the documents so we can set it out so people know what phone number to call. And it's just, I feel like it's really honored Brett's life, and that not only making an impact in our community, but also showing people that you can honor somebody's life even after they've passed away.
Awesome.
Commissioner Scarfo says, "Thank you, Kevin, Jerry, and all of your drivers for all you do for this county."
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever called him that.
Oh, the commissioner.
I just wanted to give him a little, make
That's
him feel
very
important.
nice. That's
polite.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well,
they're going to come to the rodeo with us, I believe, tomorrow night, but I'm not going to be calling Commissioner Scarfo.
Yeah. So Jerry, kind of give us your thought. What is that? I mean, Kyle and I have talked several times. I'll bet you have a lot of stories. Some of them you can't share. That just
Well, we have a lot of good time with our clientele. I mean, it's all about getting the customer home safe.
Yeah.
I'm more proud of, we won the Advocate of the Year award for DUI prevention in the state of Oregon.
Wow.
We passed 100,000 rides last year, free rides home. I mean, the community, the police departments, everyone, they support us so much. It's, I can sit in front of a beer festival or rodeo, and I have 100 people that just want to stop by and talk to me and, thank us. And it's such an amazing program. I mean,
and who are the people that help us out again?
We got, the Union County Sheriff's Department, La Grande Police Department, OSP, the district attorney, and I got some great drivers like Jake Brown, Johnny Wagner. These are guys behind the scenes. Me and Kevin get all the credit for it, but the guys behind the scenes,
And what about these guys on your shirt?
Legacy Dodge. You know, I'm the service manager out there.
Okay.
And you know, Robert, you know, given us rigs for over 15 years now, and all the dealerships, Mark Goss, Clausy, Kenny Forsythe, and the other guys. I mean, everyone wants to give us a rig to help keep the costs down.
Cool.
I mean, with fuel prices these days,
Well, and that's one other thing I was going to ask is who pays for the fuel?
Mr. Kevin Loveland right here, right beside us.
That's good.
I have a question.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question.
He doesn't know that though.
If somebody wants to donate or to help out, what do they need to do? Where do they go?
You know, occasionally we do have people ask that question, and people just a lot of the times, if they want to help out, they'll either give a check to our drivers, or they can just mail it to the funeral home. Just a check made out to either Loveland Funeral Chapel or Loveland Safe Ride. It all goes to the same place.
Yeah.
And we have the district attorney's office. It's kind of a funny story. So when this program started, and I did not have the money to really pay for fuel and to do all this. And Jerry volunteered his first several years until I finally said, Jerry, you're working all night long. You're dealing with a lot of drunk people, and it can be a challenge. And I said, we have to pay you. Well, back then, the district attorney's office had a bunch of money in their victims impact panel money because of all the DUIs that were given in our county. Well, then we started our program, and then they gave less and less and less DUIs. So then the money started to dwindle. But Kelsey from the district attorney's office, she just called just a few weeks ago and just said, hey, you know, we do have some money that's available, and it's not as much as we used to have, but we would like to send you a check to kind of help out with rising fuel costs. And I'll tell you, the car dealerships are amazing. When they give us a vehicle, most time it's completely full of fuel, it's clean, and it's ready to go. And Legacy Dodge, Legacy Ford, the other guys, and Goss Motors are amazing people to give us this vehicle. Because let me tell you, these vehicles get trashed, people coming and going, and sawdust, and we obviously tell people no alcohol in the vehicles, and everybody needs to be in a seatbelt. But it's a challenge when you get a rig full of drunk people. Jerry has had his challenges, and he has seen some stories. We just don't talk about those stories.
So have you ever had someone so obstinate that you had to kick them out along the road? Or
we try not to do that. We try to talk her,
Yeah, right.
But there's been a few instances where they've been dropped off on a corner somewhere.
And when it happens, like they'll coordinate with the police and just say there's somebody that just we can't have with this group of people.
Right.
And then the police will show up and we'll drop them off, and then the police can kind of talk to them. But that's really only happened a few times. The police have called us when they've had a troublesome person and asked us, if we can calm them down, will you take them home because they're really drunk? And we always do that. I think the police really appreciate it. And even though everyone thinks that the police are out there and they have these DUI quotas and they want to pull people over and they want to give tickets, if you watched how much they appreciated our program, you would have a completely different perspective on police officers.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to write tickets. No. They do it because it's part of their job. Right. And when we're driving, they're always helping. They're reminding people if they're stumbling out to their cars, they're reminding people, Jerry's parked right over there.
Right, yeah.
And we see it all the time. Like the sheriffs, the OSP, and when we were in Elgin, even back in the day when the Elgin City Police was running, and it sounds like it's going to be running again. And they've always been very supportive and just take the ride because you don't want to take our ride.
Right. Yeah.
Or you don't want to take Loveland Funeral Chapel's ride.
Right.
I think the safe ride's way better than the ride in the police car or the funeral home ride.
No, I reminded a few years ago at a Chamber of Commerce dance, Loveland had sponsored the dance, and then you were emceeing it. You kind of took off the microphone to encourage people to come and dance and stuff, and you said, "Hey, Loveland Safe Ride is right out there. I really want to I really want to see you here on the dance floor tonight. I don't want to see you tomorrow at work.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. That's true.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We try to have a sense of humor with what we do on all aspects, and you know, when you're working with your best friends, it makes it a lot of fun. And between Jerry and our crew at the funeral home and the Safe Ride, we're all friends. Our company Christmas parties, believe it or not, are a blast.
I can imagine.
We have a really good time, and our crew is.
Who drives for those?
Everybody gets along. We normally will negotiate.
I don't drink, so it's okay. I can drive anytime.
Yep. Jerry's our designated driver, even when we're at work.
Sounds like me. Bud Forrest says, awesome thing to do. Commissioner Anders says, thank you, Loveland Funeral Chapel, Jerry and Kevin. I think that's what LFC means.
Thanks, Paul,
Yes.
if you're watching.
Yeah. No.
And so at Beer Fest, they make it pretty easy for you to hop in Jerry, because you walk out there and there's 2 city cops sitting right behind him,
Right.
and then he's sitting there parked right at the gate. Right there.
I can imagine just someone who's a little tipsy and they
Yeah,
got their
like-
things in their head and they're like, okay, I think I'm gonna,
And we talk about like people that say, Cody and I had this conversation because we're the show that Cody and I do is sponsored by Loveland Safe Ride, and we had this conversation on the show a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, you know, that excuse people say, oh, it's so inconvenient to leave my car.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Oh,
Is that
my
not
gosh.
the dumbest thing you've
Yeah.
ever heard in your life? Like,
Yeah.
like it's inconvenient to leave your car. It's just, and people actually think like that. Like it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like the inconvenience of leaving your car could save a life.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
It's like,
yeah.
it's pretty
Absolutely.
simple.
I mean, that's obviously the most important thing is saving a life.
Absolutely.
Of course, we don't want people out driving on the roads and driving under the influence citations, but we really do this program to save a life. A lot of the times people joke with me like, you're kind of competing against yourself because you're saving people's lives and you own a funeral home, and I laugh and joke about it a lot, but the program is so close to Jerry and I both that it'll never go away.
Right.
Like Ian, our employee, is eventually going to start buying into the funeral home in the next few years, and he says, well, Kevin and Jerry, you guys never get to go away.
Right.
And we're not. And so that whole process of transferring things over to Ian, that'll take years and years and years. And Jerry and I are here to stay. We're not going anywhere. And we just love this community. And it's truly, this Safe Ride is inspiring. And it's amazing. I go and give talks at different schools and things, and when I tell the whole story, I am crying.
Right.
And it's kind of a mess, but it's nice to be able to wake up every day and just know that we're doing the right thing.
Well, and it's you have a unique, as an undertaker, at times you have this unique perspective of just seeing some of the most tragic things that someone can imagine.
We do.
And
We do.
so I mean, for you, there's outside of losing a friend to a drunk driving accident, there's this side of life that it's just part of your daily routine that I'm sure that's very real for you, because it's like, I can prevent something tragic,
Yeah.
I mean, when death happens, it affects the family. It's like this gigantic wave. And you and I have talked about this many times. It's like this gigantic wave of grief that sweeps over it. And somebody dying in a drunk driving accident is sudden, it's unexpected. It's tragic. It adds, death can be, when it's sudden and it's someone out of age, they're younger.
Oh yeah.
Then there's a tragedy to it. On top of all of that grief, it's like, you feel it, it's a different kind of grief. And you guys are able to relieve some of that. I mean, I can only imagine some of the meaningfulness of you putting those two worlds together. That is like, hey, this is something that we can do that fixes some of that tragedy, Yeah.
And I truly believe that probably over time we have saved a lot of lives.
Right.
And if you look back to when I first got here, and you look back at the number of DUIs that were given on Safer Stock Show.
Okay.
And I mean, you'd look at the paper, there'd be 20, 30 DUIs in the paper, and all of those people chose to drive home from that rodeo drunk. And now, did they give any this year?
No, it's
zero.
I look at the news and records every time.
That's why Kelsey from the DA's office doesn't have a lot of money anymore to donate to the program.
Right.
And that's the way we want it.
Right.
But when they do, they do contribute, and it's been amazing. I've heard so many people when they see Jerry and they're like, this guy gives me a ride home every year. He's given me rides the last 20 years. I bet he saved my life 10 or 20 times. And and it's a lot of it's probably serious. I mean, but people really appreciate, and I don't know. I'm proud to be a part of it.
It's awesome.
And as long as we're around, it's not going away. Although we are getting older.
You are.
We need to start.
When Cody and I were talking about it, we were like trying to kind of like guess the number, and then we just came to the realization that that number doesn't matter. If it's just one, it's good enough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like guessing the number is out the window. If it's just one person's life saved, that's enough. We have more comments coming in. Randy Winterton says, "Thank you for all you and your crew do, Kevin. At the end of the day, we should all appreciate your efforts and generosity." John Chambers says, "Great work, guys." And Todd Gorham says, "Great work, gentlemen."
That's awesome.
Yeah, people care about it. I mean, people talk about it and they appreciate it. There's no doubt.
But you probably don't hear much of that. I mean,
actually, we do.
Good.
I mean, at my job, people come in all the time. Hey, when's your next event? They know during rodeos, hey, Jerry, how many drivers do you have? We'll have 3 out tonight, 3 out tomorrow night, and then Saturday night. It's
good.
Do you have ride-alongs?
Yes, I've had people do ride-alongs.
I might do that.
Well, we'd love to have you.
I'll be just I would have fun. I would have so much fun. I drive a lot for people because I don't drink too, so I end up being the DD for a lot of my friends. And
don't tell us that. You'll be driving for us.
It's so entertaining.
Can I get your phone number?
Yeah. You're not my type. Thank God.
Oh man.
But
well, before we quit, any funny stories that you can? I mean, maybe they're staffing stories. They're not necessarily on your stories on your clientele, but I don't know, anything interesting or funny that you can share with us or want to?
As I tell everyone, what goes on the rig stays in the rig.
It's like Vegas.
Or maybe you could. Do you have any stories you can tell on Kevin? Because that's good too.
I always get made fun of on this show. And my beard. Gosh.
We're giving you the opportunity right now, Jerry. Don't blow it.
I'm going to pass on this one because, I just don't do a safe ride. I run a removal team too. So it's a good friend of mine, and we just enjoy the program. I mean, I wish more communities would get a program going like this. I would drive their community and train their guys on how to do this. It takes a certain person to drive the people home. It's entertainment, but I know where most people live, 20 years. Hey, have you moved? Nope, same spot, Jared. Don't even need your address,
Yeah.
It's, we surround ourselves with a bunch of good guys, our drivers. I just want to throw a few names out there. Bailey Blagg, Jeremy Matson, James Eby. It's, I got people calling me all the time. We started out with one driver a night. Now we're up sometimes 4 or 5 drivers a night.
Wow.
We had events where we've had rodeos going, weddings going. We've had 9 rigs out in one night at one time.
Wow.
Yes, but the community is behind us, and I absolutely love it. I mean,
Jan McDowell answers our phones for us, and she does a wonderful job. She used to work at Comline answering service, and then when she left there, we've still kind of had her help us because we don't want all of these local phone calls all night long going through our answering service because it just adds extra time. And so Jan can actually take a phone call, and while she's taking the phone call, send a text and say, there's somebody at the rodeo grounds that needs a ride out to, Cricket Flat. And so, I mean, we've got our drivers are on it. They're always parked right in front of the rodeo grounds or right in front of where the dances are going to be. And this year it sounds like they'll be parked a lot of the times downtown Elgin. And all we really just want to tell people, even if you've had one, just take the ride. Like,
it's free.
It's a free ride home. Nobody that is drinking this weekend should jump in a vehicle when we have these rides. We'll take you anywhere in the county.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this. And I would, I mean, if you had a website where people, if you made it easy for them to donate, people would really help you. Yeah.
We should do
Definitely
that. Yeah.
Should.
I mean, and because it would just be, and you set up a nonprofit. I mean, you guys would not have need to cover expenses because this is such a good thing. So
you're right. We should do that. And before we leave, I truly want to thank the two of you. This morning show and what you guys saw for the future of media in our community has been amazing. I mean, just to start this company up, and you have so many viewers and so many followers that when I come on your show, my phone, that's why my phone's out in my truck, because my phone will be blowing up with the people that are watching this show, and you guys letting us come in and talk about our program is saving lives in itself. Mm-hmm. And so I truly want to thank the both of you. You guys are way more than just a news station. Mm-hmm. And all the events that you do, how you record for funerals and how you make videos for weddings and family reunions, it's amazing what you guys do here. You've kind of captured the market, and it's awesome. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And but I have to give credit to you too. So, because and a lot of people don't know this story. When I started the company, we were a production facility, and I became friends with Kevin, and you came, I think it was 2014, that area. Yes. And you said, hey, can you stream funerals? And that is something that we still do the time. Yeah. So then when a family, and especially during COVID, that was incredibly critical. Gosh. Yeah. So when there's a funeral service, and you and I have talked a lot about grief, and we understand grief. When there's a funeral service, there's an opportunity. Not all of the family can get there. And so now they can jump online and be a part of that service. When I stream those services, you have family members that are actually presenting, and they're talking, knowing that their other family members. Yeah. So it's just, you're expanding this room. So anyhow, that was before streaming, and we figured out how to do that. And it was a complicated lift for me. We had the video camera and stuff, but I didn't know anything about streaming. And so then once we got over that hump, it was like, we should stream a football game. I mean, I mean, you pushing us to develop those skills and technology to do funerals, then, I mean, it really led to EO Live TV. That really is. The beginning was servicing you as a client, and then it's like, oh, we should do a football game. We should do a season. Well, we should do a newscast. Well, we should have a name. I mean, that literally is how it really all started.
Well, that's awesome. We're glad to be able to have you, because it's amazing. We've had soldiers in Iraq watching funerals that just could not get away. Mm-hmm. And when we started getting emails and text messages and phone calls of how people appreciate the live streaming that you've done for us, I mean, it's been amazing. And for years, we were the only funeral home in Eastern Oregon doing it. But we kept telling other funeral homes, you guys should really do this, because it's really been amazing. Yeah. And at first we just needed to clone you about 4 or 5 times, because we had you running all over the place. But now you have a great crew, and you don't have to be at every funeral.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, thanks a bunch.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Yeah, let's just keep them here as we finish.
Yeah. Fire it off.
Yeah.
Got to find it first.
Okay.
All right. On this day, what's today? July 7th.
July 7th.
1863. Yeah. What do you think happened on this day in 1863?
Oh my gosh.
The very first military draft ever in the U.S. You know how much you could get out of it for? $100 bucks.
$100.
You get an exemption for $100.
All right.
1928, sliced bread was sold for the first time in Missouri using a machine invented by Otto Frederick Rowader. Sliced bread.
What year?
1928.
Huh.
The year my grandma was born. 1936, RCA shows the first real TV program. Monologue from Tobacco Road and Comedy was what it was called. Now we're going to jump all the way to 2017 because nothing happened in between.
Okay.
Right.
Tesla Motors produces its first mass market car, the Model 3. And then 2021, the world's biggest sandcastle. What do you think the Guinness World Record is for a sandcastle, BC?
15 feet.
69 and a half feet tall.
Oh my
Wow.
word.
5,000 tons of sand in
That's crazy.
Denmark.
I wonder if it had some
big
some
sandcastle.
structure underneath, or if it was just, it had to, anyhow.
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's crazy.
On this day, the #1 song in the country in 2012, BC, you're not going to know this one. This is pop music, and I went back to music because sometimes you got to switch back and forth. But it was "Call Me Maybe." Yeah, "Call Me Maybe." Quote for the day:
Yeah.
"Get out of here. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of others." One more time. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another.
That's right. That's a good word for Loveland Safe Ride right there. Yeah. Hey, thanks guys for being here.
Yeah,
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much for having
Yeah.
us. I
And
appreciate it.
thanks Eastern Oregon for being here. We'll see you
See you
soon.
Tuesday.